Hello again, Bob, Vintage Lambo. Let's talk about 350 GT and the 400 Intrum. And it has two fuel tanks, and the fuel tank is in the quarter panel, and fuel tank neck comes through this rubber part, and then this goes into the body, and the hinge area is right here for the lid to come up. So as you can see, this one is no longer serviceable. And I was going to then make up something that I would feel would be a much better unit. Now, Turing is making these cars, and they're trying to get them out and get them over to Lamborghini and get them out the door, and of course I understand that. And so they came up with this generic one that will fit left and right. And so what they did on the drain hole is they just punched the hole over here for the other side. If you take a look, hopefully you can see that. You see how this has this indentation right in there? And that is the steel fuel tank. It has a breather pipe right there. And because of the shape of this, it just hits there. Now, of course, when we go to the other side, it hits on the other side. So that's what you got. So by it being pushed like that, then you have more of a chance for it to finally kind of fatigue and crack also. So what I wanted to try and do is make something that would seal really well and also be durable. And so the object is to seal it so that no fumes go inside. Now, when they had this, it doesn't quite fit in well. So this factory, they just cut this out so they could stick it in. So that needs to be sealed up. Also, you can see this is a flat surface here. So water or whatever you spill, maybe you spill some gasoline, it's going to go on there. It's going to sit. It's not going to drain, unless you go uphill. So that needs to be addressed. And also, this being the same all the way around, if you are parked slightly this way, you're going to have gasoline or water sitting over there. So those are the things that I wanted to deal with. Lastly, this piece is held onto the body with 4 screws that go through the sheet metal and hold it in place. There's the 4th one right there. Some of them have a few more. It just it varies because this is nothing that's set up in stone. Okay, so you can see when they put the screw in, it pushes this rubber down a bit, then this flaps up a bit. So now you lose your sealing under there. I guess you could put a lot of goo around there, but that's the story on it. So I want to make something that can go in, and we can put in a non-hardening caulking in here and then place it into the unit, and then it's just going to seal itself. If you have to take it off, then you just have to just squeeze it out, and then you'll be able to reuse it without breaking it. So those are the things that I wanted to address on this thing. So, and of course, a lot of people just say, hey, well, here it is. And you don't quite realize it took some effort, but I'm glad to say it worked out, finally. So I have a 3D printer, and this is probably the 8th or 9th iteration. This just did not say, hey, bingo, that's what we're going to have. We had to figure out exactly what would fit in. We had to also find out how can I miss that steel breather tube on the tank so that we don't have that indentation. And I wanted to make a something here that's permanent. This on the original, wherever I have that, they punched a hole in it, and they put a collared nylon thing through it, put a hose on it. It really wasn't that efficient about holding water back by leaking through here. Now, the problem with leaking is that it goes right underneath the gas tank, and the first 90 cars or so were all aluminum with steel reinforcement, with steel and aluminum together. That's not too good. And now you add water to it, so now you're really asking for a corrosion problem. So that's the biggest thing that I want to make sure that if you wash the car, the water is going to go down the drain hose and out, and it never gets inside the car at all. Okay, so now if you look at this, you'll see, hopefully, this is higher up than this side. So everything's going to be directed to the drain. Now, you see here, this is angled down. So any water that gets under the hinge or fuel or whatever is going to go down. This is very tight in here with the metal, so it's going to take very little sealing to get this to fit right and to seal. I have this continuous. You see how I have another piece. So now the sheet metal can go in between this. You put some caulking in this thing, and then you can just put it right on. Now, you don't have to put any screws on the top. So now you're going to avoid anything that might want to ripple the material or anything like that, or put stress on it that can cause problems down the line. This is elevated up above this because that's how it works. The gas lid is farther down, but there's a bracket onto the body that this slips in. It's sort of a kind of a horseshoe piece. This would slip into that, but you can see it's raised from that. When you look at the first one that they had, it really didn't go up. Now they had a second version of it that is elevated a little bit, but it's still only this one plane. It still has all the other problems, but they did do a little bit of a revision on the last cars. But again, we're trying to make something that will last for the life of the car, so using a very good product. And so here we have one of these products. It's very flexible, but boy, you cannot tear this thing. It's a fabulous urethane. I tested the material in fuel and let it sit there, and I had no problem. So splashing fuel in here, I don't think it's going to cause any problems as far as this deteriorating. Now this needs to be trimmed and whatnot. I don't have it completely trimmed or anything like that, but this is I'm really happy with this now. Now, this is not the first product I tried. This is not the first time I cast it. I've had many failures. So I'm just really happy that I finally found out the right technique and how to set it up and everything. So that being said, there's a lot of things that I have to do to make this thing work, so that I can get this piece inside here, so that it fits into the sheet metal, the whole thing. So let's take a look. All these little parts, I have to make sure. So let's just take this example right here. This is a left side. All right, so I have to have a core, because I have to, and then I also have to have this suspended. So I have to be able to keep this from dropping down. So a lot of things have to go into it. For instance, I have this piece here. You see the groove, it matches this. When I put this in, this is holding tight. So when this is locked on to the top piece, then I know for sure that I have the distance in here so that it'll flow right. So it's just one of the things, many things that I had to make up. Also, I need to be able to peel this thing out, so I can't have this thing solid. I have to get underneath this part here and get it out. So again, that's why this is so hollowed out, but then I have a matching aluminum piece that I made that goes into this. And so that when it goes into this, and there's a little bit of a groove right there that goes into the aluminum, so it kind of holds it in place. So with these pieces here, this piece here, when this goes in, I know that I'm going to be level on the top, so that I have the distance I need. So this is not going to have a hole in it where I don't want it to have a hole in it. So thinking about making this, I have to make this. So with this piece like that, let me take this out for a second. You can see how I made this thing. Oh, that's the other side. So, whoops. So, again, I made a right and a left. So the drain line, you can see it when you take the trim panel off, you can get right to the drain line. So this is the right side. So thinking of the car going this way, this is the right side here. The drain's there. And then on the left side again, the drain is there to be towards the center, so you can get to it. So actually, let's see here. So this is a printed part, but I had to do all the sanding and make it smooth and put in a good primer and make it very slippery so that I can go ahead and make this piece. So that's how that is done. So there's a lot of little things to do with this thing. And I'll do a little bit of a video. I don't want to bore, I'm already boring you guys, but not to bore you too much on how I was able to do this. Now, you can see that this piece here, so I have another piece that I use for the top. So it's a two-part, if you want to call it, mold. And so I have this upper part. So I had to cast this so that I get that, if you can look in there, this goes underneath this. So when you see when I'm pulling it out, I have to be I want to be careful that I have to go like that, and then to get it to come out of the mold. So anyway, hopefully you'll just see sort of how it went together and all that. But I can only tell you that I'm very happy how this eventually turned out. This is no longer needed, so it did its purpose. So, and like I say, I did so many iterations of what's going on here. You know, my friend Laust, excellent engineer. We worked together. He would draw it up. I would print it out. I'd try and fit it. We cut it to make sure it fit in right. It was something else. But boy, am I happy that it's finally there. Okay, so I will then splice in the some video of it being churned out, and hopefully you're gonna make it to the end. And cut a few things. So obviously this is where I inserted the urethane. It goes all the way down through this tube, and then it's going to start filling it up, and that's the hope, that everything works out well. And this is the overflow reservoir right here, and this is also a tube for making sure that we have the urethane going in all the right places. So I have this tube here that will cut off, and that's trash. And let's see if we can, let me see if I can get something that'll take this thing out. I'm going to give this a twist to break it off at the bottom there, just sort of like sever it. And then let's see if it'll come out. Okay, so you can see hollow tube, and that's where it injects. So we go down, boom, and then it starts oozing into it. Again, these tubes, one-time thing, so I'll show you. So I just make up, a 6-foot piece of aluminum and then make them work. So this piece here, this is going to be usable. Now this also locates. So this is a locator pin, because this is has 2 silicone pieces, so like a 2-part mold. When things are screwed down, everything is pretty tight. We don't want anything to, well, we want to keep leakage to a minimum, but you're going to have some seam lines. Let's see if we can get these screws out. Be nice. Be nice. Be nice to me. No, it's not going to be nice. Let's see about this thing here. O-ring. Save that. This is trash. Okay, that's 5/8. There's a core inside here also. There's a lot of things inside here. So as you might imagine, this one's a little more complicated than the factory one. See if these screws will come out a little bit better with less force here. That guy's a little powerful. these screws. Yeah, they're just not, they've had their day. You know, I don't expect to make a bunch of these things, so it only lasts for so long. So I'll have to do a little repair. Okay, so we're going to take the sides off. So let's see if this will work on this one. All right. I think I need to put this on speed. Double speed, maybe triple speed. Okay, now there's a flange in here, so I have to twist this to get it to come out. Maybe the view, you can sort of see what's going on here. Ah, see, now it's starting to come out. Sorry, I gotta keep an eye on this myself here, not just for the camera. All right, okay. So this piece, you can see it goes underneath this area, so that's why I had to like. Okay, so here we have right here, getting there. There's a lot, like these pieces get cut off and everything like that. They're just necessary for making the mold and not for the function. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get one of the little bolts here, and we need to pull the core out of this. This is part of keeping the core up so that we can get it to flow under there. So I had it. Okay, and now we want to get this center section aluminum part out. So almost. Another piece of Delrin. Now we have the bottom of our aluminum. We have this, which is this will be where the fluid drains out. And so I use that as my overflow port. And so now I'm gonna pull the aluminum plug out. Okay. So now this aluminum plug is out of the way. So now inside here we have our core, and we have to get the core out, and you can see I have this wraps all the way around and everything. So I gotta be able to pull it out. So that's our next task at hand. So by this big aluminum piece, this really gives stability to this. Also, this is also making sure that this core stays in the right place. So there's a lot of little things to this thing. Hopefully it's going to turn out okay, or else it goes in the garbage and we do it again. So that's the trick. Hopefully it works out okay. So all of these, this is all for the casting material is silicone. So now we gotta be able to slide this thing out. Okay, so that's our core right there. Now they do sell aftermarket, but the aftermarket is essentially like the original, which is, yeah, it's original, but it doesn't work well. So got a couple little pieces here that was also to facilitate making sure I had enough fluid going through on the sides here. So we'll just do a quick trim there. And then we have one more right in here. I need to do a little quickie, cut it off. Okay. And then we got this guy here. We need to get that guy to go out. Sorry about all the suspense or boredom, however you want to call it. Okay, so there we have. Well, thank you for making it this far, and if you can like and subscribe, that would be great. I'm hoping that you can glean a little bit of information that will help you on your current or your future project. This is really great that I have these done. Now I can put the gas tanks back in the car. So until next time, I'll see you then. Bye-bye now.